it's my issue is I don't see it as a limitation, but of course with what you said, if because of your father or your mother didn't see you fit to leave, I mean that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah.
That that I don't even want to begin to dwell in. I'm looking at why the majority of us we have reasons behind it, and yes, room and board is one aspect of it, but the other one is the comfort zone.
Okay.
But I also think diversity is important. I think sometimes you know what? Go. Leave.
Yeah.
Wallah la tarja.
Right.
So let them go. Let them go.
That's good.
Like, kick them out. And then when they miss their mom's food and they miss their mom's
they'll
cooking
come back
and the
eventually.
smell. Oh my gosh.
خليهم يروحوا يخليهم يدرسوا
Yeah.
كل شيء. وشكرا كثير Rashid for being here
so
and
for
sharing
me.
everything and your
Thank
advices
you.
with us. Next up we have Jacqueline and Alexis Zaidan.
ما الذي يجعلني أحول وصفاتي الطبية من صيدلية إلى أخرى؟ أسباب كثيرة، المعاملة، السرعة والثقة. في صيدلية فارماسي شوب لا مشاكل من تلك أبداً. هنا نقدم للجالية العربية والكلدانية كل ما يحتاجونه من أدوية وبخدمة مميزة وأمينة. نقبل كافة أنواع التأمين ونتكفل بنقل الأدوية مجاناً إلى منازلكم وفي سرعة وأمان. نعتني بصحتكم إلى أبعد الحدود ونؤمن كافة التجهيزات الطبية وبأسعار منافسة، وفي الكثير من الأحيان قد تكون مجانية. زوروا The Pharmacy Shop على شارع ديكوندر بين الميلين 11 في مدينة ماديسون هايت، أو اتصلوا بنا على 248-591-5555 248-591.
Looking for best price and best selection?
Avis Ford.
Sweetheart deal!
These aren't just words at Avis Ford. We need you to truly love everything about buying your new car. That's because what makes it a sweetheart deal is you choose exactly what you want from hundreds of cars, and then you get it at the best rock bottom price. You'll love your price and selection. You'll love how you feel.
You'll love your Avis Ford. Shop online at avisford.com or stop in at 12 Mile and Telegraph. Call 1-800-SHOP-FORD.
ديش نتورك الرائدة في عالم الترفيه التلفزيوني تقدم هذا العرض لك ولمن تحب. قم بتحويل صديق لك إلينا للاشتراك في باقة ايربك إليت سوبر باك، وسنقول لك ولصديقك شكرا، وستحصلان على بطاقة ماستر كارد بقيمة $75 لكل منكما، بالإضافة إلى استمتاعكما بأفضل باقة قنوات فضائية عربية على الإطلاق. للمزيد من المعلومات اتصل بنا على 1-800-984-3388.
Infusion Day Spa مكان متميز تجدين فيه الراحة، الاسترخاء والجمال. نضال هي إحدى أخصائيات Infusion Day Spa، ولديها خبرة طويلة في إزالة الشعر بالليزر، chemical peeling، waxing، tattoo، botox، microdermabrasion، ميك اب، بالإضافة إلى خدمات أخرى. في Infusion Day Spa تتمتعين بإحساس مرهف بالجمال والراحة. استفيدوا من عروضاته الخاصة microdermabrasion and acid peel ب$70، وزوروا Infusion Day Spa مرتين واحصلوا على قناع ذهبي 24 قيراط بقيمة $30 مجانا. كما لديهم برايدل باكج بأفضل الأسعار. في Infusion Day Spa أنت امرأة من جديد. Ask about their special packages for men as well.
Shainab Gawahon, my name is Nival. Come and visit us at Infusion Spa.
For more information, call Nidal at 586-883-7537 586-883-7537.
المحامي جلال دلو يستلم قضاياكم المتعلقة بالهجرة والتجنس والمشاكل القانونية المتعلقة بحوادث السير والمخالفات المرورية، كما لديه خبرة واسعة بالقضايا الجنائية. اتصلوا اليوم بالمحامي جلال دلو على الرقم 248-763-4584 4040.
If you need an attorney you can trust, an attorney dedicated to criminal defense and immigration, please call my offices. My success is your success, and I will do everything I can to make sure you succeed.
المحامي جلال دلو، ثقة منذ البداية وحتى النهاية.
Jacqueline and Lexus, thank you for joining us. Jacqueline, you are a high school liaison. Please go ahead and explain to us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Basically, the past year or so, the districts have felt that they needed liaisons. We're basically the forefront to the counselors, principals, teachers, parents, students, anybody that has an issue with in regards to attendance, grades, even truancy, down to truancy of any kind. We're the ones that basically bring in the parents. We set up meetings, guiding kids and parents and students in directions that would help them, finding resources for them, and also basically more so the hands-on for the teachers and everybody, where we alleviate a lot of the mundane stuff that they have to deal with, where they can get to the principalship job or the teaching job. We come in and we're sitting down and we're basically closing that door and talking to the student and that parent, and really bringing a reality check more so to the issues at hand.
Within your field, so then I'm sure you've seen the challenges that students go through being in high school, and in high school it's kind of like a pressure point for them, because the next thing they know is they have to make a decision which college they have to go to and which program they have to apply for. So it's a bit of overwhelming for them. And what challenges have you seen with students?
There's so many challenges, and there's challenges that I probably legally couldn't even discuss with you right now here, publicly, just because of confidentiality issues. Right. But at the end of the day, as a parent, actually, coming from a perspective as a parent, you look to find, like for example, with my kids, from day one, actually, when Rashid said from day one, you look. For me personally, I looked and I watched as they grew. You look and you see those little niches and those little things that they have, and then you progress and you start to guide them. And those, once they get into high school, some of the issues that they face, if you don't become a friend to your counselor, I think that sometimes is a detriment. Okay. If you are not in tuned and involved in your school, in your high school, you tend to lose out on a lot of the things and the opportunities that is afforded to them when they're there. And yes, it does start in middle school and preschool and elementary school. I think those are the stages that you go through to reach that high school career year that becomes successful for you to move on into college. But I think the best advice that I could ever give a parent is pay attention to your child as they grow up, guide them, don't force them. You can't force a child to go into something they don't want. Right. And I know that you hit on a lot of subjects that I was just, as a parent, I'm thinking, oh my gosh,
you wanted to kind of jump into.
Yeah. You cannot. I think the biggest mistake a parent can make is when you're forcing a child to be something that they don't want to be. Do you guide them in that direction maybe and let them find their way in it? Sure. But like I said, going back to the question, your best advice, my best advice would be make your counselor your best friend.
And why is that important, to be friends with your counselor or having that relation?
I watch a lot of kids come through my office and they say, oh my God, I didn't know. Okay. Or, oh my God, how do I do this and how do I do that? Well, that happens by your relationship with your counselor. And that counselor is to guide you to those opportunities. Another personal example, when she graduated her last year, I had the pleasure of having the same counselor for all three of my kids, who I love to death, and he's just amazing. Guided her in a direction, because he's seen something in her, I seen something in her, but she's, in college right now, and she's tapping into those things right now, but is it the end result for her? Probably not. I don't know.
Lexus, what is that you're studying right now?
Well, actually, I was studying journalism, broadcast journalism, but as I was heading home for Christmas and New Year's, I actually switched over to communications.
Okay, and now this is what we're talking about, the change. And your change of study is not too far off from each other, but tell us why you decided to have a change.
Well, like as my mom was saying, I actually originally wanted to do a psychology law sort of degree. And when I spoke to my counselor, he sort of told me, you know, I've noticed a lot of things about you, and I think you should look into the journalism degree. You seem like you'd be fit for it. So I sort of, what I think is important as a student and as someone who did pursue college, I think it's important for you get that guidance, but I think you, like as a person, you have to take that extra step to educate yourself to see if that's something that you want, because a guide, like someone to guide you can only take you so far. They can only know so much about you, and they can only understand so much about you. You understand everything about yourself. So you need to take the extra step to understand it and to see if it's something that you are passionate about. So I did. I researched it, and I went into it, and I liked it. I said, you know, this is something that I would enjoy. But I went and I took some of the courses. You know, I mean, obviously I'm going to learn a lot more in the courses than I would educating myself, like with just a very like small background of it. And just for me personally, I just realized it wasn't something that I wanted. It wasn't something that was fit for me.
So far.
Yeah, so far. And the depth of it just wasn't fit for me. And even just like seeing it in the real world, something that I wasn't like, it just, for me and my morals and my values, it just didn't go hand in hand with each other.
Okay.
So what I did was again, I spoke to some of my advisors in at the college, and they said, well, here, like, what do you see yourself doing? And I told them what I see myself doing, and they sort of said, well, here's the layout. You know, like we said, it's your job to go out there and see if it's something that you want. So I researched it. I spoke to a couple of people outside that are actually in the fields, and I realized it was something that I may want to go. I don't even know yet. You know, I'm starting to take
know yet.
and that's I'm starting to take the courses.
It might even change.
Yeah,
absolutely. A lot of college students that are undecisive and they don't even want to go to college. And it's something that I always say to people is go, because eventually you're going to have to do your general ed. You get that out the way. Some way, somehow, you'll eventually find something that you'll find a spark in an interest, and then you'll pursue something.
Look, you can end at the end of the day. You have to look and realize that not every game plan is this game plan is not a one fits all.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not. And I think once you get behind that door, you have to find that between your own four walls of your child, you have to find a way to see what is right for you. One question I do want to go back to, and I don't know if you were going to go to it, but it's such a pet peeve of mine.
That's okay.
Is when you talk about girls and education.
Yes.
And the one thing I want to advise any parent out there, do not hinder your daughters from their education. And at the end of the day, you know how you raise them.
Yes.
And you know that when they go out there, she goes to Michigan State University. It's an hour and 10 minutes away. I trust her with my life. I know how I raised her. Why should I deprive her of that education just because our own culture tells us you're a girl and you can't move on? You know, that's not fair. And outside of the fact that I also see the other perspective, I also see parents that are so, in the area that I work in, it's amazing some of the kids that I've seen and the change that I've seen in the past 10 years. The growing that has gone on in our community with education and parents, girls that have gone on to become medical doctors and lawyers and everything like that. It's a good thing. We've changed. We've moved forward quite a bit.
No, I think it's, as culture has it, I think in the last 10 years,
it has moved.
It has improved.
It's made a shift.
I've been out of high school for 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years ago, it wasn't an option for anyone. It was just harder for the family to let their children to move forward and move on. My brothers were 19 years old when they decided to leave the state of Michigan to pursue a business.
And keep in mind the generational too, because the minute she went away, when my mother found out, what did your grandmother say?
Well, I was just going to say, I personally think like that whole idea of like parents not allowing their kids to move forward or not allowing their kids to move out, like it's obviously like it's cultural and most importantly it's generational. And I think the fact that it's letting up more and more is just because more parents are like involving themselves, and more parents are seeing like what benefits it has. And when one parent tells this parent, and that parent tells that parent, like that's the most